District of Manhattan and brought to you by Chase. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. We have the honor, we have the privilege of being joined right now by the head coach of the Toronto Raptors. Nick Nurse is on the show. Thank you so much for taking the time, Coach.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on. Good to see you.
Of course. We always say that success is a function of realistic expectations. How do you think that your Raptors performed against expectations this season?
Well, I think our expectations of what we were going to do were a lot higher than maybe a lot of other people's expectations. We played 22 games the year prior without Kawhi, and we went 17-5. So our guys had some confidence that we were going to perform the way we did this year. Obviously, we would like to have went a little further in the playoffs than we did, but it was a hell of a series with the Celtics.
Congratulations on establishing yourself as one of the top coaches in the game so far, not only winning the championship, but I appreciate how you continue to develop the young players on your roster and maximize their skill. And look no further than Pascal Siakam, who goes from being the most improved player to an all-star level player. But he struggled against the Celtics. What do you think led to him not being able to perform in the playoffs against that team versus how he was able to perform in the regular season?
Well, you know what, Jalen, he was really rolling into March 11. He was playing great. You mentioned he was an all-star. We had just come back from winning 4 out of 5 on a West Coast trip, and he was wheeling and dealing late in the games and creating all our offense. He didn't respond to the layoff as well. He just didn't play as well, even in the regular season games down there in the bubble. I don't think I'm going to hold that against him. It's just, it wasn't easy for everybody handling the pandemic and the time off. We believe in him, and he's going to be a superstar for us.
Not much. How about you?
Are you answering my text in person?
I am. Yeah.
The Nissan Altima, now offering the most tech-advanced engine in its class.
Can your child learn 1 year of math in 3 months by playing games 10 minutes a day? Yes, and we can tell you how. At Elephant Learning, we believe every child has the ability to learn math. We teach it like a language. So once your child understands the concepts, they can apply it in the classroom and the real world. The best part? Elephant Learning is presented as games to be played, so it's actually fun too. Our system works for children ages 2 to 16 by teaching counting through algebra. With over 90,000 students in our system, Elephant Learning guarantees results for students, teachers, and parents. What are you waiting for? To learn how to help your child learn a full year of math in the next 90 days, guaranteed, simply click on the link below and we'll give you all the tools you need.
Coach, in your new book, 15 Teams, 4 Countries, 1 NBA Championship, and How to Find a Way to Win Damn Near Anywhere, you explain a little retreat that you went on with the Zen master, Phil Jackson. What was it like on this retreat, and what did you guys discuss?
Well, first of all, it was really surreal for me, right? I started out as a young coach early in the 90s when the Bulls were the thing. I mean, I was watching every game and reading every book that Phil put out and kind of studying him, and to go out and meet him in Montana and drive around in his truck with him and talk basketball and leadership and life a little bit was surreal for me, man. It was awesome. He's kind of like my mentor. He didn't really know he was my mentor, but he was.
All I know is I would love to get a chance to hang out with Phil Jackson because he probably has some good lettuce when he makes his salad. I'll just say that. How about recently you posted a few throwback videos of you playing basketball. How would you describe your game?
Floored feet would be the first thing. I stayed close to the floor, Jalen. I passed the ball. There's Tony Bennett, man. I didn't like playing against Tony Bennett. Look at those shorts, man. I know you didn't wear shorts like that.
Well, We got a spot on my rec league team for you, Coach. Anytime you want to come by New York City, we got a spot for you. We got a little roster spot
That
for you.
sounds good. That
Yes,
sounds
of course.
good.
Now, the Eastern Conference is shifting a little bit, and particularly in Brooklyn, with the Nets adding Kyrie Irving and KD both coming back from injury. What do you expect from the Nets this upcoming season?
I expect him to be really good. I mean, listen, KD and Kyrie, and don't forget about some of those other guys, man. They've been developing some players as well. I thought they had a great bubble. They were one of the surprise of the bubble. Dinwiddie and Levert and all those guys they got coming too. Joe Harris, Jared Allen. I mean, there's a lot of guys you can name there. And of course, Canadian Steve Nash taking over at the helm. So expecting big things out of the Nets next year, for sure.
Coach, what was one of the more challenging things about the entire bubble experience?
You know what? I'll be honest with you. It was seeing the people you were going to play with constantly, play against. I mean, you know, you were in a tough playoff series, and you come off the elevator, and I'd bump into Brad Stevens, and I'd be, you know, hey Brad, how was breakfast? How was breakfast today? You know, I mean, I didn't really want to be chopping it up or chit chatting with him. I was trying to get my competitive game face on, and that was one of the most challenging things. I'm sure you can relate to that, Jalen, for sure.
One of my favorite things about you, Coach, is that you have your own logo. I think you're the only head coach in the NBA with their own signature
And
logo.
it's dope, too.
You're wearing it on
And
your
it's
hat
dope,
right
too.
now.
It's not
What
whack.
is the story behind your own logo?
Well, it's an NN here. I'm sporting it, as you can see. You can get that to support the foundation if you want to grab one of those. But it started out as a little TM for Travis Matthews, and Nike came by and said, hey, it kind of looks like your initials. Let's make your own NN one. So they made like 4 of them. We produced like 4 of them, and then it kind of caught on in the playoffs last year, and we start selling them through the website. But again, all the money goes to the foundation, helping local kids here in Toronto, for sure.
That's awesome that you continue to give back to the community. Once LeBron James wins his 4th championship and his 4th Finals MVPs, you know how this works. The comparisons to Michael Jordan start to happen. Who do you think is the greatest basketball player of all time?
You can't get me on that one, Jalen. They're absolutely tied at the top, right? I mean, listen, my era is Jordan was the greatest, but man, I've gone against LeBron enough to know that he's the greatest too. It's just two of the greatest players, and man, with all he's done, I usually when I bump into LeBron, I tell him thank you for all he's done for the league. You know, and obviously you do the same anytime you see Jordan, because we're all happy and lucky to be a part of what they've helped create.
You've had the misfortune of going up against LeBron in many, many playoff series. What's it like to prepare to play LeBron James-led team?
Well, it's tough, right? Because you got to come up with a lot of different game plans, and you know, it's not like plan A and plan B. You got to go down to about E and F, maybe G with him, and you usually end up using all of them because he's seen it all. His vision, his size, his passing make him, you know, really hard to defend. And I always say this: great players make everybody else around him better, and he certainly does that.
He definitely does. So, Coach, you're promoting a book. Now, recently, I saw a hilarious video of Rick Carlisle doing a TikTok video where he was dancing with his daughter. Do you have any plans to do something similar, and or have you seen his video?
I have not seen his video, and no, I will not dance. That is for sure. I might play some music now and then. I might, you know, I dabble in a few instruments, but dance is not my thing, Jalen. That's for sure. I know my strengths. No flippers.
What shows you simply what played out in Houston is what we alluded to yesterday on the show, was that Jeff Van Gundy lives in the Houston area. He's friends with that owner. And a lot of times when you're the owner and you see PJ Tucker at 6'5" playing center, and then your squad adds Russell Westbrook, and you double and triple down on the small ball and the D'Antoni ball and the Morey ball, either you got to continue to reinvest in that or you got to blow it up. And so Tyronn Lue, I feel like, was never going to lead the Clippers. I felt like that was always his job. That's why it was genius for Doc Rivers to bring him on his staff, so that now if something did happen to Doc Rivers, which it did, and now he got a job with the Sixers, now Tyronn Lue isn't in the position of musical chairs trying to find a good job. He gets a chance to coach one of the best players, Kawhi Leonard, for one of the best owners in Ballmer. So it's a win-win for everybody involved. Houston's going to get their guy, I believe. The Clippers now have their guy. He's going to have Chauncey Billups as his lead assistant. I think that's a great move for the Clippers.
Jalen, one thing that's really important for these Clippers is just how much has changed in the year. Do you remember when they got PG and Kawhi? We were like, wow, there are now 2 dynasty teams in Los Angeles. Well, guess what? PG and Kawhi are both free agents at the end of this season. Do you think that makes added pressure on Lue to retain those 2 or re-sign those 2?
Nah, because he signed for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Okay, so he's locked in, and he understands that there's going to be some roster changes. When you look deeper into the Clippers, Lou Will, Montrezl Harrell, those opportunities won't be safe anymore. When you give up what you gave up for Paul George, he's still going to be there. He's still an elite performer in the game. You don't just trade and get better than Paul George. And so Tyronn Lue, I think his ability to communicate and his experience of dealing with LeBron James and winning a championship as a head coach, I think now is going to allow the Clippers to ease into those expectations. Because like you said, I was one of those people. Oh, you add Kawhi? Oh, you add PG? Doc Rivers on the sideline? Oh, if they play the Lakers, they're going to beat them. Therefore, the Clippers going to win it all. But wait a minute. They lose to the Nuggets and never even play against the Lakers? Think about it. Tyronn Lue won a championship with LeBron James. The goal was to have him on your sideline when you play against a guy that he should know all of his tricks. They got bounced before they even played against the Lakers. So this is going to be a great opportunity for Ty Lue. I'm glad he found not only a great job, but I think he's got some great players to work with, a contending team, and I think he's going to do some special things with the Clippers.
Well, you alluded to it earlier, but now it is absolutely official that Daryl Morey is no longer the general manager of the Houston Rockets. Jalen, what does this tell you? Read the tea leaves of this move.
A friendly game of dominoes that Daryl Morey wanted them to go really hard after Tyronn Lue. And the owner, who's in communication with Jeff Van Gundy, either you doubling down or not. And when you look at the Houston Rockets next year, they're going to be a traditional basketball team. I don't think they're going to be a team that shoots 2 times more threes than they take 2s. I don't think it's going to be a team that only shoots 3s, free throws, and layups. I don't think P.J. Tucker's going to be their starting center at 6'5". I don't believe that Russell's going to be their power forward at 6'3". I think it's going to be more traditional. That's why I feel like that'll be a great opportunity for Jeff Van Gundy to go in there and remake what that squad has been over the last few years.
See, I also think that they will go with a more traditional roster, but when you look at the centers that are available on the market or that have options, there's not that much there. I mean, Drummond comes to mind, Gasol comes to mind, Whiteside comes to mind, Plumlee, but I'm curious to see how they will adjust their roster to become more traditional, because there's no easy path to do that unless they trade Russell Westbrook. Could you see them trading Westbrook?
Yes, I can. And the word traditional in the sense of today's game, where you're either going to have 4 people or 5 people around the three-point line. The Houston Rockets play micro, small, short basketball. That's what we mean when we say traditional. And when you do that, if you're the Houston Rockets, I say this about the Utah Jazz. Don't take the ball out of James Harden's hands. When you add Chris Paul, that's what you're doing. When you add Russell Westbrook, that's what you're doing. In Utah, when you add Mike Conley, that's what you're doing. Let Donovan Mitchell be the primary ball handler, like they did in Denver. Let Murray be the primary ball handler. James Harden ain't about to be moving or cutting or slashing. Let him have the ball, initiate the offense. This guy has led the league in points. This guy has led the league in assists, 3-pointers made, free throws made. He's the only person in the history of his career is going to do that. Okay, that's how versatile and outstanding he's been. You have to keep the ball in his hands.
Sometimes there are videos that need to be broken down in detail, so you and I need to go to the table.
Hi, my name is Michael. I've been on the program for just over a year, and this is my progress so far. I have more energy now. I'm calmer. I'm more confident. This is not just a hair regrowth program. I mean, it was a lifestyle change. It was you take your pills, you get free testosterone, but you eat well. You get your proteins. You got to eat certain foods. I mean, it's a whole. And then the book that you receive for your mind benefit. I mean, the whole program is more than just hair growth. It's a lifestyle, a better lifestyle change as far as mental health and eating right.
As a pilot, there's no greater feeling than being in the sky.
My schedule does not allow me to spend time traveling conventionally.
We fly our passengers, executives, and personnel.
Some engineers design the jet's parts and assemblies as test articles.
3D pubs allow users to view complex parts in close-up detail.
So this citation is it for us.
You have arrived at your destination.
The things that we do for our children. Take a look at Mavericks head coach Rick Carlisle and his daughter on TikTok. Jalen, what do you think about Rick Carlisle's dance moves?
I love Rick Carlisle. You know, that's my guy. Taught me how to come off screens, how to play better in the pick and roll action in Indiana. And he's showing his versatility right there. One of the top coaches, championship level coaches, but more importantly, a Hall of Fame dad. I love you, Coach.
He
looking
is
like
the
Jim
greatest.
Carrey.
He does look like Jim Carrey, and his dance moves are just so unabashedly